Hi, I'm John. Today we're going to be talking about operations of our rental units. Today we're going to be using a Wolf Pup 16 BHS. We're going to go over all the things you need to know. If you're renting another one, everything's going to be generally the same. So let's get started. Starting off at the front of the camper, we will have a battery setup for you and a propane tank full for you. The only thing you're going to have to worry about with your propane tank is if it's open or closed. It's indicated right on the knob on the top. When it comes to your tongue jack, so if you want to lift or lower the front of your camper, you'll either have a manual one like this, where you raise or lower, or you'll have an electric one that's going to have an extend and retract button on it. This is your coupler. It's what locks your trailer onto the ball of your truck. If you want to unlock and lock it, it's as easy as that. You're going to have this safety lock pin that slides through, and that ensures you that you're actually locked in place. As far as the weight distribution hitch goes, we'll show you how to use that at time of pickup. So here we are on a different rental unit. We're gonna go over just a couple different things. Again, they're all pretty similar. However, this one has 2 propane tanks and a dual stage regulator. Same concept, you wanna make sure they're open when in use. This, however, does have a sight gauge indicating if the tanks are full or not. So if this arrow is facing this tank and it's green, that means you got propane. If it goes red, that means it's empty. This unit also has a electric tongue jack with a on-off switch for your light and a extend or a retract switch. You'll use that to level your unit or to get it on and off of your truck. This unit also has electric stabilizers, which is the same thing. You have extend. Once it hits the ground, you want to stop. You don't want to use it to level the unit in any way, only for stabilization. And then when you're done with it, you hold retract until it's all the way retracted. So when you're traveling, this is how your entry door is going to want to look. You're going to have your grab handle over your door. So when you get to your campsite and you're unloading, you're going to lift up on the handle and pull it straight. Then you're going to unlock your door. So you have your grab handle lock and then your deadbolt lock right there. You're going to get your set of keys, super simple, that locks the handle. Then your other key will lock the deadbolt. So when you open the door to get the steps out, you want to make sure the door is open all the way. Now this particular unit has an awning arm in the way. So again, just make sure that it's open as far as you can go. You're going to pull the tab on the stairs right here. You're going to bring the stairs down and set them on the ground. You do have some adjustment knobs on the bottom of the stairs that will extend or retract the legs. Pretty much what you're looking for is you want the stairs to sit as flush as possible to the bottom of the door threshold. If the legs are too long, they will catch the bottom of the door and your door won't shut properly. But as far as shutting your door, give it a good slam, you're not hurting it. And then when you want your screen door closed, you open that up and that locks just like that. Every rental unit of ours comes with a 30 amp shore power cord. To use it, you just push in, twist to the right, and then you have a retainer that will twist to lock it in place. That way nobody can walk by, trip on it, and pull it out. This unit in particular has a light indicating, hey, you got power. Some campsites do not have a 30 amp plug. So we will supply a dog bone that goes on the end of your shore power cord that goes down to a 15 amp. To go over the operations of this air conditioner on this specific unit, first you're going to want to make sure you're plugged in with shore power. This will not work if you are not. You have your temperature adjust right here. You can see it goes red and blue, which is hotter and colder. And then you have it labeled here. You have high cool, low cool, high fan, low fan. So depending on what you want to run, you just twist the knob. High cool is going to be when your compressor kicks on, which will actually make the air cool. Obviously the fan, the compressor won't kick on and that'll just be a fan. With the lights, all of these are individually, you can turn them on and off individually just by clicking the button there in the middle. If you need some fresh air, gets hot or air is stagnant inside the unit, you can use these vent lids. You just twist them open, that opens up and you get some fresh air. However, if it does rain, you're going to want to close those And when you're traveling, you're gonna want those closed also. That way they don't fly off or you don't get any rain inside. So starting with your monitor panel on the inside, you just have a bunch of buttons and numbers, and it looks like a whole lot, but it's really not. It's pretty self-explanatory. So to start up here, you're gonna have an awning with a little light button. That's gonna be your awning lights. Now you have exterior light buttons, which is gonna run your speakers. You have your awning switch, and it has extend and retract. So if you want to extend it, hold the button. Same thing when you want to retract, you hold the button. If you do have the door in the way, again, make sure that's closed enough where it's not hitting. And before you travel, make sure the awning is all the way up against the camper. Hold that button down an extra second or so to ensure that. Next, you're going to move on to what says the water heater. If you hit this button on, blue light's going to indicate this is what's turning the water heater on your propane. So a flame will ignite and that will heat up your water in your water tank. This button right here, if you are dry camping and you need to use your fresh tank to get water to your faucets, you turn that button on and it turns on a pump that brings water to your faucets. And if you want to turn it off, just click the buttons off. So if you look at the top left of your monitor panel, you're going to have some reading levels. They're empty, 1/3, 2/3, and full, and then the labels are fresh tank, black tank, and gray tank. Your fresh tank reading level is going to be for your potable water when you're dry camping. Your black tank is going to be what goes into your toilet, and your gray tank is going to be your other faucets. So you just want to keep an eye on those levels, make sure if they are nearing full, you're going to empty those tanks. If you want to use your water pump, you're going to hit that button on. That pump is going to pressurize until the lines are fully pressured. When that happens, the pump will shut off until you turn a faucet on. When you open that up, obviously there'll be water coming out at the time of pickup, but the pump will turn back on until you close that up and the pump will repressurize. When you don't need it, you can come over here and hit that button off. So this unit has a wall-mounted thermostat. This is going to run your fan, your AC, and your furnace. This bottom button right here is going to select your modes. So if you click it, right now we're at off. It's going to cycle through your fan settings, your AC settings, and then your heat settings, which is going to be your furnace. Then if you cycle back, it goes to off. Each time you click something, it will take a couple seconds to engage. And then your arrows at the top are just going to be to adjust the temperature of what you want the air to be set at. On this unit, you have a battery voltage reader right there. So if you're dry camping and you're using your 12-volt battery, that will go down over time. You just want to monitor that. Down here is going to be your thermostat for your furnace, which is located right below me. So to use this, you have this top switch here, and if you read the front, it says cooler or warmer. You just click it to the right. The fan will kick on for about 15 to 30 seconds. After that, you'll hear it ignite. Again, same thing like with the water heater, you're going to want to listen for the flame. You're not going to be able to see it on this one, but you'll hear it. It'll sound like a jet engine. If you look, there's a little red tab showing the actual temperature inside. It's kind of hard to read, but that's about it. If you want to shut it off, go all the way to the left till you hear it click. So during travel, you're going to want to make sure your range top glass is closed like this. To open it up, you just fold it a couple times. Now, you don't have to have the light on to use this, but if the light is on, it uses an automatic igniter where you just push in to the left and it lights up like that, and you can adjust your temperature from there. Like I said, you don't need the light. You can use a stick lighter to manually do it instead of having that button on. Your refrigerator always wants to be latched when traveled. You don't want these flying open and having your belongings go everywhere. Same thing with your doors and cabinets. Into the bathroom, to flush the toilet, all you do is push down on the foot valve. So this monitor panel has a couple additions as opposed to the others we've looked at. This unit has a generator. So if you want to start the generator, you're going to go to this stop prime button and hold this down for about 10 to 15 seconds. You'll see the generator light turns on. This is priming the lines with fuel. After that 10 to 15 seconds, you're gonna hold the start button. And it should start up. If it doesn't start the first try, don't worry, just try it again. Now with the generator on, it will run all your receptacles, your microwave, and your air conditioner. When you want to stop using it, you just tap that stop prime button and you should be good. This monitor panel also has an electric water heater setting. So if you're plugged in with your shore power cord or running on the generator, you can heat up your water using 120 volts. We also have an Arctic pack on this unit. So on those cold, chilly nights, it's got some heating pads on the tanks to avoid any freezing if it comes down to it. This unit has 4 stabilizing jacks on it, 2 in the front and 2 in the rear. So to use these, you're gonna get this crank handle and you're going to rotate it so it extends. As soon as it hits the ground, you wanna stop. These aren't meant to level in any way, they're just meant to stabilize. You may need a couple blocks of wood with you, just depending on the terrain. And when you retract, you just go the other way until it's all the way up. While we're here, the water heater exhaust right here does get hot if you are running it and there's a flame. Same thing with the furnace exhaust on the other side, so just be careful of those. If you look down here, you have your battery disconnect. This supplies 12 volt connections to your whole unit. So when you're using it, whether it be driving down the road or using it to camp, you're gonna wanna make sure it's on. That allows, again, the 12 volt connections so you can use your lights and it charges your battery. If you're going away for the day and you're not plugged into shore power, you're gonna wanna turn it off to save your battery. So if we turn it off, you'll notice everything turns off. That way nothing's pulling from that battery. If you're ever running into the issue of not having your air conditioner or your microwave turn on, first thing I would do is check your shore power connection. So go to the outside and make sure you're plugged in. Next, I would look at the microwave light. If the microwave light is not on, that's an indication that you're not getting 120 volts. So what you would want to do is come down here to your breaker panel. It's all labeled right here. It's just like at your house. Make sure that none of these are tripped. If you're ever in a situation where your lights aren't working, that's going to be 12 volt related, and you're going to want to check these 12 volt fuses on the right hand side, which is also labeled. So depending on where you're getting your water source from, you have a city water connection and a freshwater connection. City water is going to be the easier of the two. This is if you have a spigot, you can run a hose from your spigot to the inlet. You twist your hose in, make sure it's nice and tight. Then when you turn on your water, you're going to have water inside to your faucets. It's as easy as that. If that's not the case, you have your freshwater connection. This, you set your hose right here when you get to the campsite or before you leave, and it fills up your fresh water tank. The only thing you have to look out for with that is make sure the low point drain valve is closed, because that's what retains the water in there. And then from there, that's when you would use your pump to get the water to your faucets. Before you leave, and you don't want to travel with the weight, you're going to open that valve back up and let the water pour on the ground. So if you're going to want to watch TV, there's a couple steps you're going to need to do. First, you're going to reach right up here next to the monitor panel, and you're going to turn on that antenna power right there. See how the green light turns on? Next, you're going to want to search for channels. So to do that, you're just going to use the remote and go to settings. You're going to scroll down till you get to all settings. Scroll down to general, swipe over, go down to channels, channel tuning, go to auto tuning, and click start. This is going to search for channels through your antenna. There may be a bunch, there may only be 1 or 2, but you should get some type of channel. You're always going to want to know where all your safety equipment is. So your fire extinguisher is always going to be lower down by your entry door. Your CO and propane gas alarm is going to also be lower down, located at various spots of the unit. Your smoke detectors are going to be on the ceiling, and then your emergency exit windows will be labeled with the red sticker indicating emergency exit. When dumping your holding tanks, you're going to have this sewer cap on here that's got some L-shaped prongs. So first you're going to want to get a pair of gloves. You're going to want to loosen that cap up, and you're going to want to pull the bottom out. So if there's any gunk left in there like that, it's not going to go at you, it's just going to go on the ground. You're gonna pull that cap to the side, and then you're gonna get a sewer hose that's got the same L-shaped prongs on there. You're gonna push it on, twist it in place, make sure it's nice and snug. That's when you're gonna start with the black tank. With the black handle, you're gonna pull it straight out about 4 to 5 inches, and you're gonna hear and feel that black tank start to release all the stuff in the tank. When that is done, you're gonna wanna close that up, and then you're gonna wanna pull the gray tank lever, and it's gonna do the same thing. You wanna do the gray after the black, so it helps clean out the sewer hose. That way it's not getting on you and doesn't stay in the tube. Now we're gonna go over some additional stuff on a motorhome if you decide to take one of those. One very important step is to make sure all the cargo doors are locked. You're gonna have both twist latches and key latches. You wanna make sure they all are locked to ensure that they don't fly open during travel. A couple last tips before you take these out. When the awning is all the way extended and say a rain comes and you want it to drop down to one side, all you do is go to the pitch arm and pull it straight down. When you're done, you're going to retract, push it back up into place. Before you leave, you're always going to want to check your mirrors, check your surroundings, make sure everything's closed up. When you're driving, make sure you take wide turns, and again, just keep an eye on all your surroundings.